Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another exciting week of music theory. Today, we're going to be continuing our talk of intervals, and we're going to kind of move on from identifying intervals on the staff, and we're going to start doing it hourly, or listening to two notes being played at the same time and starting to identify them that way using our ears for ear training. So just a quick reminder as we're going along of how these intervals work. So the first thing that we need to do is identify the number. Is it a first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, or octave? And then from there, we need to figure out if it is a major, minor, perfect, or an augmented or diminished interval. And we can do that using the piano keyboard. Today, we're going to be talking specifically about the major scale and how that relates to intervals. So if we have a C major scale like we do here, and we have a C, that's obviously if we play C twice, that's going to be a unison, or do and do. If we have do and re, which is C and D, then that's going to be a major second. So if it's within the major scale, it's always going to be either a major interval, so a major second, major third, major sixth, major seventh, or a perfect interval, like a unison, perfect fourth, perfect fifth, or octave. So whenever you're listening to those, if you hear a solfege, like a do to a so, which would be C to G, that's going to be our perfect fifth. If we do a do to a la, that's going to be our major sixth, which is right here. If we have a do to T, and we hear that interval, that's going to be a major seventh. And then if we hear do to do, that's going to be our octave. So if you hear that interval and it sounds like it should relate to solfege and what we do in sight reading nearly every day, then that will help you to identify these intervals hourly or by listening to them. So let's do a little bit of practice. This week, we are only going to work with our major intervals, which are our perfect intervals, which are the unison, perfect fourth, perfect fifth, and the octave. So if I start here on do and I hear do again, that's obviously going to be a unison, right? And if I hear do to fa, that's going to be our perfect fourth. If I hear do, so, that's going to be a fifth. And if I hear do, do, that's going to be our octave, okay? So let's practice this a little bit using different keys besides just C major. So what I'll ask you to do is try not to look at the keyboard as I'm playing it, but I will play each interval twice and then see if you can figure it out along the way. So here's our first interval. Try not to look as I play. Here's that interval again. Hopefully you've heard that as do, fa, which is our perfect fourth. Next, we'll do this interval. Here's that interval again. Hopefully that sounded like do, so, which would be our perfect fifth. Then let's try another interval. Hopefully you heard that as do, do. That was a beautiful sound that I just made, but that is do to do, which would be our octave. You can also hear that as somewhere over the rainbow. The first two notes of that melody from The Wizard of Oz is our octave. So in the coming weeks in class, we'll be adding a new interval or intervals every week. We'll start just with our perfect intervals this week, and then we'll start adding the major seconds, major thirds, major sixths, and major sevenths in the C major scale, and then we'll start working on some minor intervals as well. So if you want to get some extra practice, you can set up a interval training like quiz on musictheory.net, and I will make that available for you soon. And that will be our quiz, basically what our quiz will be on Thursday. But tomorrow we'll talk more about this and give you some more practice with these perfect intervals. See you soon.